1996 was the last year that we would see a vinyl top fitted on a factory production car, which was on the Buick Roadmaster. Vinyl roofs on cars are just one of those things that you either love or you hate, but for a period in American automotive history, they were the hottest thing going. Which begs the question, why did they vanish? To understand how vinyl roofs started, we first have to go back to the late 1920s, before style had anything to do with it. In 1928, Ford introduced the Model A, and one of its variants, the Special Coupe, came with something different, a roof completely covered in a vinyl-like material. It wasn't there for fashion. At the time, most cars still used wood framing and fabric tops because full steel stamping on the roof wasn't always practical or cheap. This wasn't like later vinyl roof cars where it was a full steel roof with a vinyl laid on top of it. This was, for all intents and purposes, just vinyl, but it was really the first somewhat widespread use of a vinyl hardtop. Following the Model A Special, the vinyl top sort of sat dormant for years. No one was really putting major effort into using them as manufacturing processes got better, thus increasing the accessibility of the steel hardtops, which did provide a more robust feeling drive, and on those boxy 30s cars, they just looked a lot better too. It wouldn't be until 1949 that America would see the return of the vinyl roof, and this time around, it would not be from Ford either. It would come from Kaiser, a new American automaker that launched in 1945. Kaiser was founded by Henry J. Kaiser, an industrialist who made his fortune building Liberty ships for the Navy during World War II, amongst other things. With that government money still hot in his pocket, he set his sights on the post-war automotive boom. But launching a new car company in a market dominated by the Big Three meant taking risks, and styling was one of the few places where a newcomer could stand out. And the first design risk they took was bringing back the vinyl roof when no other cars really had it. In 1949, they released the Virginian, which was their hardtop sedan version of their convertible sedan that they called the Manhattan. Great names, by the way. The Virginian was a full metal hardtop car that offered the structural safety of a hardtop, but with the vinyl draped over it, it had the allure of convertible looks. In fact, that's even what they used in their marketing in period, and what would become one of the early key buying reasons to get a vinyl roof car. By 1950, Ford jumped back into the fray with their Crest line, which was fitted with a vinyl top, an option that would expand to its sister cars like the Mercury Monterey. However, unlike for Kaiser, this roof was a bit of a sales flop for Ford, who killed the option off in just a year. Then it was back to Kaiser being basically the only game in town for vinyl roofs for the next few years, and they were doing some wacky things with them. The Kaiser Dragon was a newly introduced car for the brand in 1951, and when it launched, it had a major disadvantage. It had no V8 option when all of its peers did. So to try and make it cool, Kaiser offset it with a vinyl roof and interior improvements to make it seem more flashy. There were even special order vinyl roof patterns that mimicked crocodile skin and even like a woven bamboo-ish texture, which made those special editions look unlike anything else on the road. Cadillac would start offering the vinyl roof on their Eldorado Seville and Fleetwood 75 cars a few years later in 1956. And it was right around this time that Kaiser had found out just how hard it was to run a profitable car company, as their passenger car division as a whole was killed off, which outside of those couple Cadillacs sort of paused the vinyl roof surge for a few years. But it would eventually come back. Once Kaiser passed the torch, it was yet again Ford who picked it back up and started the final push that brought the vinyl roofs mainstream in the 1960s. The Ford Thunderbird was Ford's biggest new thing until the Mustang came out, and once they launched a vinyl top on the hardtop Thunderbirds in 1962, people couldn't get enough of that simulated convertible feel. And in fact, it soon made up a significant portion of all T-Bird sales. Ford had turned on their own money printer with the vinyl roof at this point, and in just a few short years, they cascaded it into an option on almost every car by 1965. The Galaxy, the new Mustang, the Falcon, if it was a Ford product, there was probably a vinyl roof option for it. Other manufacturers were starting to see how well this trend was performing at Ford, and so what they did was copy it. Chrysler would launch their Canopy Top, which was sorta an ugly half vinyl roof, and GM would launch it on certain sub-brands like with the Buick Skylark. However, Chevy itself was the last major manufacturer to adopt a factory vinyl roof because they didn't have one until the 65 Impala. But nonetheless, they did eventually hop in the arena. And now, with every company having exposure to the vinyl roof craze, people saw more vinyl roofs because, well, there were more of them. And as such, they continued to buy more vinyl roof cars, thus creating even more demand. We had officially entered into the peak of the vinyl top craze. And what was interesting is that it initially started out as an imitation convertible in terms of styling, but now it had just grown into its own styling trend similar to that of T-tops. In the latter half of the 1960s, legitimately almost every American car had a freaking vinyl roof option. Every big name GM muscle car, Fords, Mopars, it was like they were everywhere. Today, a lot of these modern resto mod cars that were built on classic muscle cars have had their vinyl roofs removed when they were restored. But if you wound the clock back to the car scene in the 70s, you'd probably be amazed at just how many vinyl roof cars were out there. It got to the point where manufacturers were no longer unique for having a vinyl roof, so they had to try and invent their own weird patterns or shapes in order to stand out. Chrysler had their floral pattern mod tops, which I've already made a video on, plus their weird canopy style. AMC would launch their Javelin with the rear-only Landau roof vinyl, and then the front half-only split vinyl that they had after that, both of which looked kinda odd. But vinyls would keep on soldiering on as popular as ever into the mid-70s. Because by this time, American cars got so choked out power-wise that styling was really all manufacturers could really do to try and make their cars unique. Landau roofs got more popular, opera windows showed up, and vinyls were still in full force and part of the everyday American automotive dream. But like all good things, the vinyl top's reign had to come to an end. The unraveling of the vinyl roof saga started happening in the 1980s. The prevailing styling cues in the automotive market started to shift a lot around this time. Take the remaining Mustangs and Camaros, for example. Now into the 80s, the T-top roofs were all the rage, and a T-top wasn't really something that you would do with a vinyl roof, as that kind of defeated the purpose of the T-top. So for cars like those, the phasing out of the vinyl roof was just inevitable. Buyers were just flocking less and less to the over-stylized 70s leather American pseudo-luxury look, and they were embracing the 80s more intercontinental design philosophy. Rather than just big boaty cars in America and tiny Japanese cars in Japan, the car market in the US was becoming increasingly more diverse. And when you would take the styling of a late 70s Mercedes compared to a late 70s Monte Carlo, it was clear that the US had some catching up to do. And part of that was moving to ditch that older image. Now, vinyl roofs were still offered on a smattering of rather uninspiring American cars that tended to have older customer bases who liked the vinyl options. Cars like the Crown Victoria, Lincoln Town Car, Buick Rivieras, and various Cadillacs would carry on offering the vinyl roofs into the 90s, in the event that somebody potentially wanted one. But it was no longer a focus of the manufacturers. And 1996, as mentioned in the intro, marked the end of the factory-built vinyl roof cars with the Buick Roadmaster and Cadillac Fleetwoods, which made sense given the average age of those buyers were well into their 50s and 60s, and those are the people who would potentially appreciate the vinyl roof. After this, though, they were no more, at least from a factory sense. There were American sedans with vinyl roofs built after 1966, but they were not factory assembly line built vehicles. These were either dealer add-ons, kind of like how sunroofs used to be back in the day, or wholly aftermarket kits that you could buy. There was a select set of European, Japanese, and Australian cars that had vinyl roof options for a period of time as well outside of the US, but they just never caught on and stood the test of decades like vinyl roofs did here. And frankly, it's pretty impressive how long vinyl roofs retained their reign of dominance here in America. Just like T-tops, there was a case to be made that for a time, these were the hottest thing going. Initially, they started out as a way to offer a simulated convertible look that totally transformed into a unique styling cue all its own. Granted, they were not without fault. Vinyl roofs, as almost anyone knows, did have the tendency to trap moisture under the vinyl itself, which almost certainly in most cases would lead to rust issues on the underlying roofs and pillars wrapped in the vinyl. It's rumored that these these issues were further exacerbated by poor finishing on car roofs where manufacturers knew they were going to have vinyls draped over them. But of course, companies would never admit this to our faces. But it would not at all surprise me if some cost-cutting liberties were taken on this, because at the end of the day, stranger things have been done when automakers were trying to save a few bucks. You don't see them as much anymore, but for a period, vinyl roofs were as important to American car culture as anything.